Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here, today with another top 5 future premium ships video. Now, these aren't premium ships that Wargaming has announced. These are my top 5, another top 5 ships that I think should be made into premium ships. Now, I made a video like this a little while ago, and it did fairly well, sparked some good conversation, and we're doing that again today. Now, again, these are 5 ships that I have gone and found on my own, and a couple of these ships, it would be kind of tricky to make them to premium ships, although I don't think it's anything Wargaming couldn't do. There's really only one that I think would be kind of iffy if it was to be made into a premium ship. And, well, that's actually the first one on this list, and we'll get to it in a moment. But again, this is all my opinion, and this is just for good fun. And let me know in the comments down below, what ships do you think should be made into premium ships? Alright, so let's go ahead and get started at number 5. We have and Dutch people, I am sorry if I butchered this name, the Abraham Christensen, Abraham Christensen, Abraham Christensen. Some of you probably have heard of this ship before. It's actually a Dutch minesweeper that during World War II, it was stuck in the East Indies after Japan attacked in 1941, and this is the ship that disguised itself as an island to sneak out of the East Indies and get to Australia. Now, it's a minesweeper. It's smaller than a destroyer, and destroyers are already pretty teeny tiny in game. But stick with me. Here's what I think the ship should be. So, it's a minesweeper. It's small. It's maneuverable. It can be fast in the game. Although I do think its top speed is only what, yeah, it's only 15 knots, but hey, this is a game, and I think this should be like a tier 2 ship, so I'm not exactly sure of, what, tier 2 destroyers are, their speed, but just give it speed around that. I mean, come on, Wargaming, it's a game. we can push the speed barrier a little bit, but I think the ship should come with 2 camos. One, it's normal gray camo, and 2, the camo where it looks like an island. And if you have the island camo on, I think it should have like some super crazy detection range of like 2-3 kilometers. You know, so it's, paying homage to the history of the ship that it snuck out of these Indies disguised as an island. The other issue is that it only has one gun. It has one 3-inch gun, and I say just give it a second gun, slap another gun onto its stern. Just say, hey, this was a potentially planned upgrade to the ship. They've done that before with other ships in the game. Just do that. Just have fun with it. This could be a really fun tier 2, especially with the island camo, and having a concealment range of only 1 or 2 or 3 kilometers with only 2 3-inch guns, I think that will be fine. And hey, it's a tier 2, for God's sakes. It's not like it's going to be some big game-breaking ship. It's just make it a tier 2, make it a reward ship for a campaign, or only make it like $5, if that. This could be a really fun ship just to go and mess around with at tier 2. And hey, I would buy it if they would add it into this game, because this is such a unique story that the ship has, and I would love for it to see this ship in the game. And again, I think just a fun ship if they would add this in, and I for one would certainly buy it. Alright, moving on to number 4, we have the USS Tennessee, the refit of the Tennessee. And the Tennessee class was the what's the word I'm looking for? The descendant, if you will, of the New Mexico that we already have in the game. So she has the same 12, 14-inch guns, but she was refitted after Pearl Harbor. She survived Pearl Harbor, and she is refitted quite insanely. If you look, it's especially, I'm going to show you a picture of it here. So you got the super dreadnought, but if you look on the sides, that you have the modern of the time 5-inch turrets on it. So it got modernized after Pearl Harbor, a little while after Pearl Harbor. So she could be a tier 7, and I think this should be a brawler, because she has 16 5-inch guns, plus she has those 12 14-inch guns, and at tier 7 14-inch guns are a bit underpowered, but if you make her a brawler, give her decent really good second for tier 7, so something with a range of about 8 kilometers, like the Scharnhorst and the Gunneisen now, and maybe give it a little speed boost, give it 23, 24 knot top speed. Nothing too crazy though, because if you go to 25, you put the speed flag on, then you're kind of pushing it. So maybe 23 or 24 knots, somewhere in there. And this could be a really fun brawling ship. And you could give it radar. I wouldn't. I think that would be a little bit too much. But this is kind of like what they should have done with the West Virginia, put the modernized version in. And I know the thing with the West Virginia was if they put the modernized version in, they said with all the firepower, it would have to be a tier 8. But, I mean, they could have made it a tier 7 and just, whatever. Whatever Wargaming's excuse was for that. I think this could work because New Mexico's a tier 6. With all these upgrades, I feel like it could still be comfortably put at tier 7 because it does only have 14-inch guns, but with decent secondaries, very, very good AA, because they just freaking strapped AA onto this thing when they modernized it. And I think this could work quite well. I would, for one, would certainly be interested in seeing the ship added to the game, and I would probably buy this, especially if they made it a brawler, because with those secondaries, those 5-inch secondaries, that's a pretty potent secondary battery at tier 7, and this could work. Now, on the speed side, it is a little slow, but like I said, they could just bump it up to 23 or 24 knots. I think it would work great. Great. All right, moving on to number 3, we have the, I'm sorry if I butchered this Italian, people at Italia, correct me, the Vittorio Venecio. I think I said that right. I think I did. Probably butchered it. I'm sorry. And this is the other Littoral class battleship. Well, one of the others. There were 3. One of Roma's sister ships. So all of you will say, well, Roma's in the game already. Why would you want this one? Well, this one I would say, instead of making it a brawler like they did with Roma, give it more accurate guns. So all they'd have to do is give it decent dispersion and slow down the turret traverse. And I think this would work quite well, because Roma, everything about the Roma is great except for its guns. And if Wargaming isn't going to fix the guns, well, why not add the Vittorio in and just give it more accurate guns, make it more of a sniper rather than a brawler like Roma. You could crank down the secondaries, give it more accurate guns, slow down that turret traverse, because Roma has like a crazy turret traverse. It's a 30-second turret traverse, and then if you add in the traversing module, it goes down like something like 26, 27 seconds. It's crazy. So they could slow down the turret traverse, give it more accurate guns. You could add more AA to it, although, I mean, Roma's AA isn't that great, so I guess that could be another trade-off for the crazy turret traverse, and they could tweak 1 or 2 more aspects about it. And then you would still have the Littorio for the Italian battleship line whenever that comes out, if it ever does come out. And I know I am sounding a lot like Wargaming, definitely stretching. I'm doing pretty much what they've done with the Iowas, and they added in the Iowa, the Missouri, and now the Georgia. So I'm just stretching the class to its max. I know Georgia isn't an Iowa class, but it was a early concept for the Iowa class. But I mean, hey, again, these are just ideas. I'm not saying they need to do this. I'm saying this could be a premium ship, and I think it would work very well. Especially with the way they're going with the battleships right now. Like you see with the American battleships, you're getting the normal American battleship line, then you're kind of getting this premium split where they're good brawlers and they have bigger guns, and they could do the same thing here. And again, just an idea. All right, so number 2, and I know I'm going to butcher this one. Oh Lord, forgive me, Greek people. The Georgios Avarov. I probably didn't say that right either. So this ship, I was actually looking up this ship, and it's got a pretty cool story behind it. So during World War II, oh, by the way, this is what's known as an armored cruiser. These were ships made in the late 1800s, early 1900s, and this ship was originally launched in 1910. It was the last armored cruiser in the world ever launched. Yeah, construction started in 1907, launched in 1910. So during World War II, after the Germans invaded Greek, the crew of the ship, they were actually ordered to scuttle it. They didn't, obviously by the footage you're watching on screen. So instead, they cut through the harbor boom with axes and handsaws to get the ship to escape, and their CO actually climbed up a rope ladder while the ship was escaping to, get on her, and they escaped. um, See, they went through the creek, then onto the UK naval station at Alexandria. So the thing was, the ship was obviously way outdated for World War II, so it just did some convoy escorting. But this could be a pretty good tier. This is another ship I would say they would have trouble placing, because it's a really old design. It's a ship from 1910, and I originally thought, well, maybe tier 4, tier 5, but the thing is, it's guns. She's got 234 millimeter guns, so those are 9-inch guns. But she also has another another 8 7.5-inch guns, and those the two turrets in the front. The one in the front, the one in the back. Those are the 9-inch guns, and then the 4 you see on the side. Those 4 turrets you see on the side. Those are her 7.5-inch guns. So this would be tricky to place the ship, because I would consider those 4 on the side will also be part of the main battery, so it'd be kind of weird you'd have 2 different calibers for your main battery guns. But I mean, hey, to get the ship in the game, I think it would work fine. Now, her top speed is 23.5 knots, so I would say somewhere around tier 5, maybe tier 4, definitely not tier 6, because this thing getting up to tier 8 would not be a fun day. But this is like the what was this ship? The Olympia. Just like the Olympia, which the Olympia was is an armored cruiser. How did I get those names confused? So like the Olympia, it would be kind of a weird ship to place, because it's armor and such. It's fairly thin, but the guns are so large for where they would need to be at their tier. But again, you could certainly balance the range and the reload time of those guns, while the 7-inch guns could have a faster reload time. It could work. Just you have to do a little creative thinking with it. But I really think this would be a really cool ship to see in the game. And again, probably a tier 5. I mean, where do you guys think it should be at? I certainly don't think tier 6. That's too much for it. Tier 5, tier 4, somewhere in there. I think it would work well. I wouldn't say maybe tier 3, just depending upon what way you tweak the stats. But I think it could work if Wargaming really wanted to make it work. Alright, so number 1, we have the USS Louisiana. Now, the Louisiana I'm talking about was the last planned ship for the Montana class. And I would say give this the Massachusetts treatment. You could buff the secondaries, give her the Massachusetts secondaries, because they're pretty much the same secondaries that the ship has right now. The range and reload time is just lower and slower than the Massachusetts. Now, in the main guns, you would of course make them less accurate, so almost like an American Kurfürst. And you could give it radar instead of the catapult fighter, and this would be a tier 10 ship you could get for coal. So, because we have the Ohio coming out, that is that ship that we're going to get through the Naval Training Center now, and it's got the the 457 millimeter gun. So this would give the people who don't have the time to grind through the Naval Training Center another way to get a tier 10 premium. And this would still have the 12 16-inch guns that the Montana has, but again, it would have the buffed up secondaries and radar, and it would be available for coal, so everyone could grind up to it. I know coal's kind of a painful grind, but hey, it's a tier 10. It should be a bigger grind than normal to get a tier 10 premium, so I think it would work. And just by the way that the Massachusetts works, I think the ship would work great. We've seen the Massachusetts and the Georgia, the American brawlers, if you will. They've worked great, and I certainly think the Louisiana would work great too. And I know Louisiana was the last ship in the planned Montana-class battleship. I just chose that name because that's my home state, and I would like to see its name in game, especially on a ship like this. Now, of course, you could do without the radar. I know there's already a bunch of radar in game, but I was just thinking, just to make it that much more different and that much more attractive than just getting the Montana and putting a secondary build on it and rolling with that. And plus, with the Louisiana, if you do a full secondary build into it, you could get the secondaries out to 11.3 kilometers. And I know someone's going to say, well, this is going to start, kind of overshining the curve first. And I would say, well, no, because the American secondaries, they still don't have the pinning power that the German secondaries do. So the curve first would still be, and plus the armor would be the exact same as the Montana, so curve first has better armor there as well. And Louisiana would have decent AA, just like the Montana has right now. All right, so those are my five. Those are another 5 future premium ships I would like to see in the game. What do you guys think? I know with the Christensen and the Averof, it'd be kind of iffy getting them in game, but I think if Wargaming really wanted to, they could, like I said, with the Christensen, you could tweak it here and there and make it work. The same with the Averof, and those are two very unique ships which I would like to see in game. But anyway, guys, what are 5 ships you would like to see in game? Let me know in the comments down below. And hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. And make sure you hit that subscribe button. And when you subscribe, make sure you have the bell icon hit, because for some reason YouTube's stupid and that doesn't always work. So make sure you got that clicked on. Anyway, guys, hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to catch all of you guys in the next one.